okay, boss?
I'm hanging in there, Andy. Just trying to get this Facebook Live thing working.
I understand. Hello, Hello, Miss Sheila.
Hey Andy, how are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Good evening, Mr. Roberts.
Hey there, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Just want to give some folks a couple more minutes to get logged in.
A lot of people are probably going to be listening to, getting ready to hear the debate.
Yeah, I kind of have some competition tonight.
All right. Important ones are here.
I think I finally got the live feature set up. All right. I believe we are in business.
Yeah, live features on, Councilman.
All right, good. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. If anybody wants to continue to join on, we'll get them let in, or they can watch us on Facebook Live right now. So this is our, as promised, our quarterly town hall. This is our newest one for the last quarter of this year. 2020, almost over. It's so close. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, signing up. I especially want to thank our Davidson County Commissioner of Elections, Mr. Roberts, for taking some time out of his very busy schedule this week to join with us for a couple of minutes and just kind of go over what the Election Commission has been doing to not only provide information about the rest of early voting and election day and any issues about requesting a mail-in ballot, but also what they've done to help keep everyone healthy and safe during this period of COVID that we're facing. So without any further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Roberts. You have the floor.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, Councilman Bradford, to speak to your group. A couple of things that we want to make sure everyone recognizes for voting for November 3rd. You have three options. An absentee mail-in ballot. You can vote early in person, or you can vote on election day. So let's talk about absentee voting first. The last day that you can request an absentee ballot is October the 27th. But keep in mind, we have to have your ballot returned back to us by election day. That means you would have to be very proactive in making that happen. So if that's your choice, I would recommend you get busy, pull that request off of our website and email it back to us so that we can get your ballot in the mail to you. At this point in time, I would recommend considering, once you receive your ballot, voting it immediately and taking it to the post office on Broadway, going inside and handing it to one of the postal officials there. That's where our post office box is. So that will give you the shortest route as far as the mail moving to get to our post office box. When you fill out that absentee ballot, you will put it into a yellow privacy envelope. And on the outside of that is an affidavit that you must sign. One of the biggest issues, it's not huge, but we have it, people forget to sign the envelope. And if you forget to sign, there's little recourse for us now because we are so close to the election. If we had received your ballot back in September, we could have probably reached out to you and tried to correct that and got your signature at that point in time. So pay attention. There's a little blue instruction sheet in your absentee ballot packet that will tell you everything that you need to do step by step. If you follow that, you will have no issues. Early voting. We had a total of 14 days of early voting. We are down to the last half at this point. We're open until 7 p.m. tonight. We will be open until 7 p.m. next Tuesday and next Thursday. We're open on Saturday from 8 to 4:30. And this is at all 13 of the sites we have across Davidson County. You can vote at any of those sites that you choose on any day that you choose. What I would recommend at this point in time, keep in mind, historically, the last 2 days of early voting have been when we've seen the longest lines. So if you want to avoid those long lines, you might want to choose a different day than next Wednesday or Thursday. If you vote on election day, you have to vote at your assigned precinct. If you've moved, you still have time to update your address. You can go online to the state's portal and update that. Whatever you do, go to your new precinct location. You can look that up online on our website also. And all you have to do is put in your new address and it will tell you where to vote on election day. That will make your voting process a little speedier. If you wait to change your address until election day, that will make you have to go through a few more steps to vote. But all of that can be accomplished on election day if that's what you choose. As far as COVID, like in August, we will be following for this election, or are following for this election, the COVID protocol. So you will see our poll officials wearing the PPE. Social distancing will be practiced. Now, social distancing makes the lines look longer than they are. You may still stand in line for an hour, but the lines move fairly quickly. It's just when people are standing 6 or more feet apart, it makes that line look longer. Masks are encouraged, but they're not mandated. We cannot force a voter to wear a mask, even inside a metro building. So keep that in mind. The person next to you may not be wearing a mask, but if you will follow that COVID protocol, stay the recommended distance apart, you should not have any issues. The voting process, actually voting on the machines, it is touchless. You do not have to touch the machines to accomplish voting. You'll be provided a red stir stick like you would get at any fast food restaurant for a coffee. And that's what you will actually make your ballot choices with. You will then recycle that stir stick before you leave the building and put your paper ballot, after you've reviewed it, into the scanner. We've had people ask, if I put my ballot in face up, will it count? The scanners don't care which direction you put your ballot in. They will count it either way. We recommend face down just for your privacy. So that kind of gives you the quick 30,000 foot level. I'm open to any questions your group might have, any suggestions they may have as to how we can make the experience better for people.
Well, thank you so much for all that information, Mr. Roberts. A couple of questions that I had, or a question and a couple of statements. So with the mail-in voting, you stated that you have to have it received by election day. So that doesn't mean postmarked or anything. It means it has to be physically in the possession of the election commission for it to count.
That's right. So our post office box is located at the post office on Broadway. They close at 5 p.m. We will be there when they close. We will gather up all of the ballots that are brought in that day, and we will bring them back to our office so that all of those will count.
And just a brief comment, observation. My partner went and voted this morning in Madison, and he said it might be a good word of advice for anybody who's not voted yet to bring your own pen. That way you don't have to use one of the pens at the election commission. They do have pens you can throw away. So if you don't want to deal with that, just bring your own pen, and that will help conserve some resources for the election commission. I really do appreciate you, Mr. Roberts. Any last words for us?
Sure. Just one thing on the pen issue. We will recycle all of those pens and use in future elections because the standard protocol is that the virus can only live on plastic for a limited period of time. So, our next election, depending on the whole referendum piece, outside of that, our next election won't be until 2022. So the virus will not survive until then.
Councilman, I have a quick question.
Okay,
Sure.
go ahead, Andy.
Mr. Roberts, on your absentee ballot, is it also possible just to bring it out to south or the creek out there in Murfreesboro Road and drop it off at the commission?
You can bring your request for an absentee ballot to our office, but the actual ballot itself, the law requires you to put it into the mail.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? I can unmute anybody who has issues. Anybody watching on Facebook, go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and we'll see if we can get those in. Like I said, I appreciate Mr. Roberts for being here. I know it's a busy time. Going to make a quick plug for the Vote Early TN program through Representative Cooper's office. Wednesday the 28th is actually the 13th day of early voting, which makes it District 13 day at the polls. So I encourage anybody, go ahead and vote if you feel up to it now, but I'm also encouraging everybody to come out next Wednesday and vote for District 13 day, and let's see if we can get our numbers up. So thank you again, Mr. Roberts. I'm sure you've got some stuff you need to be attending to right now, but thank you so much for talking to us.
Sure. Well, let me give you guys a fun fact that we haven't shared yet. Right now, today, we've got 35,421 absentee ballot requests that we've received. We have 27,266 ballots already received back in our office. So the Davis County voters are really putting those ballots back in the mail.
That's good to hear. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Well, next on our agenda is, we kind of went out of order. I usually do my updates first, as we know, but Mr. Roberts had to speak to us before at the very beginning. So just want to provide some council updates. So I did get a resolution passed at the meeting before last, recognizing a District 13 resident, Miss Madison Edens. she did a piece of art that was selected by the First Lady to represent the state of Tennessee in the White House's women's suffrage centennial celebration. So props to Miss Edens, and I will be getting that resolution out to her family pretty soon. If you live over off the Kipling Drive area, just be heads up. Stormwater will be working on some upgrades and some improvements to the stormwater drainage over there. If you have any questions or have any concerns, please reach out to me or reach out to Metro Water about that. So we've all seen some of the recent uptick in crime around the Millwood, East Thompson Lane area. I have been in contact with Hermitage Precinct and getting updates when they come in about any incidents out there. I was also approached by Mr. Mohammed Hussein from the mayor's office, and we are working in conjunction with both South and Hermitage precincts and council members Jenny Welsh in District 16 and council member Jeff Syracuse in District 15 to host a community meeting with both the business community along Murfreesboro Pike and any residents who would like to attend. We are working on trying to use the gymnasium at Glenview Elementary so that anybody who wishes to attend in person, we can do so and socially distance. Hoping to have a representative from Metro Social Services Homeless Impact Division there as well, so that we can get as much feedback from the community about crime, homelessness, and for Metro PD to provide updates as to what they are working on in the area. So, and to try and create a community task force so we can try and curtail some of the recent uptick in crime in the area and try and make it a safer place for both businesses to operate and for residents to frequent. So about a month ago, I posted in the East Thompson community page about a potential development at the corner of Kermit and Murfreesboro Road, the old nightclub that sits there. So after some conversations with the community, got some great feedback from what the community wanted to see there. I reached out to planning, got some questions answered, and contacted the developer with my opinion on that corner development. A lot of the community said they did not want to see any more tobacco or liquor stores or any vape stores. They wanted to see more like a restaurant, a cafe, coffee shop, offices, medical office possibly. So under the current zoning for the area, any type of business is pretty much allowed. So I suggested that we do a specific plan or SP zone so that we could, in the actual zoning bill, limit and prevent some of those businesses from going in that the community did not want to see. The developer didn't really seem open to that idea and suggested that they might go ahead and just develop based on the current zoning there is. So the back part of the property is zoned office and the front is zoned commercial. So there's probably going to be a hybrid type building where the back of it will be office space and retail in the front. And it'll probably be a strip mall, unfortunately. Now, as everybody knows, I had brought up a few months ago, there's a bill that was coming through the council that would change how council members received benefits once they are done with their term in office. I appreciate everybody who reached out and provided their feedback to the council at large about that bill. So everyone knows I'm one of the co-sponsors of this bill. I think it's something we need to really look at and fix and make some changes to it. To that end, I'm pleased that the vice mayor selected me as well as council members Evans and Hancock to be on a special committee to work with those who were in opposition and work with Metro to come up with ideas on how we can change and reform these benefits so that we are put more of the cost onto the council members than the taxpayers. So please stay tuned for more information on that. The next time this bill will come up, I believe, will be in March. So continue to email the council with your thoughts on this matter. The vice mayor will, I don't believe he'll be putting any of the community on this. I think this is just going to be a council committee, but I may be wrong on that. So if there's going to be anybody from the community, he'll make those announcements within the next couple days. And lastly, if you've probably seen some of the posts I've made, the Visitors Corporation is handing out signs called Love Thy Neighbor. And it's basically a way for us as a community to show support for our neighborhood bars, neighborhood restaurants, neighborhood retail. So if you would like one for your yard or your business, please send me an email, russ.bradford@nashville.gov, with your address or the name of the business you would like the sign, and I will try and get those out. So again, if you would like a sign, just send me your email to russ.bradford@gmail.com. With that, I'll leave a couple minutes for any questions that anybody might have either here or online. If I don't get to your question online or don't know the answer, I will look it up for you, and I will post that answer to the thread online or send you an email. So with that, any questions, any comments?
Does the city, you said that the builder wasn't favorable towards an SP. Does the city have any ability to limit what business license are offered for the establishment once it's built?
I'm not sure. I can ask around and see if I can get an answer for you about that. My gut instinct would be, as far as the licensing goes, as long as it's allowed by Metro Code, then Metro would have to issue a license for it. Distance-wise, like if it was a bar or something that sold alcohol, because there's a large business park right behind, I believe it'd be outside the 100-foot zone that would trigger a public hearing or a request for exemption. But I will ask around and see if I can find out what Metro could do to limit what types of business licenses are handed out. Anybody else?
I did have one more question.
Sure,
So
go ahead.
what does the city do when they make a determination on how they're going to repair a pothole?
Okay, so potholes, the first step would be to report it. So you could do that via Hub. There's an option to report those potholes, then it will generate a work order for Public Works. Now, it also depends on if it's a city road or a state road. For example, I had reported an issue on Murfreesboro Pike. That is technically a state road, so TDOT has to handle that. But if it's just a street, Metro street or Metro property, then they'll come out there and they'll fix it. I can talk to Public Works and see if I can get a more detailed, itemized process for you. But to my knowledge, that's pretty much the process. You report it on Hub, it generates a work order, it gets put in their queue, and then they take care of it.
Okay, yeah, because there's the intersection right there where there's Briley and I forget the other intersection. There's a Shell station right there. I pass it all the time. There's two major potholes that they keep just patching, and it doesn't do anything. I mean, it's even with the patch, you're still taking a pretty decent hit. And at what point do they cut up half the street and redo it?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, send me an email with that address or that location, and I'll follow up and see if they can get some engineers out there to see if maybe it's an issue with the road itself.
Thanks.
No problem. Anybody else? I think I see some comments on Facebook. Someone asked for me to repeat the email for the Love Thy Neighbor signs. Again, it's russ.bradford@gmail, or excuse me, at nashville.gov. That's russ.bradford@nashville.gov. Someone asked for me to repeat the email for the Love Thy Neighbor signs. Again, it's russ.bradford. One other question. Someone asked about the development that's going in off of Elm Hill near the daycare. The last time I spoke with that particular developer, they were working on some new plans based on the feedback received by the community at the last meeting. Of course, with COVID, it's kind of slowed everything down, but I'm hoping to have 2 or 3 different designs or plans drawn up for the community to basically say, you know, here's A, B, and C, which one do you prefer? I did give some feedback myself to the developer to try and make sure, see if we couldn't increase the number of single family homes and reduce the townhomes portion, and to try and make them look less like townhomes and more like a neighbor, give it a more neighborhood feel. So when I get some more information about that, I'll organize another meeting for the Elm Hill community and get that information out to you. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in. So if you have any questions, if you're watching this on Facebook and you have a question, or if you're watching this on Zoom, shoot me an email or post your question on the event, and I will do the research and get that information back out to you. With that, I thank everybody for coming out tonight. Again, thank you, Mr. Roberts, for giving us the update from the Election Commission. As always, if you need to get in touch with me, shoot me an email or contact me on Facebook. I'll be happy to see what I can do for you. So with that, everybody have a great, safe evening and have a great weekend.